In today's episode, we're speaking once again to the amazing Katie Richardson. Katie is a coach to entrepreneurs, mom to four, wife, author, and a powerful speaker. She's been featured on Ellen Degeneres Show, Rachael Ray Show, Today's Show, and on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine. Martha Stewart, Matt Damon, Camilla Elvis, Maria Lopez, Robert Downey Jr., and Kourtney Kardashian are just a few of the celebrities known for using her products. And in today's episode, we're speaking to Katie about the transformational formula for wealth. Let's find out. Welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And today, once again, we have the amazing, the wonderful, the stupendous, amazing, wonderful, beautiful Katie Richardson. Welcome, Katie.
Go, thank you. That was a very fun intro. Super excited to be here.
I'm super excited to have you, my lovely. It was such a fascinating conversation with you on Friday feature that we had to have you back on Money Talkies, and you are the ideal person to help us to build the best businesses ourselves. So, Katie, everyone's heard how amazing you are in the intro, but please do share with us what it is that you do.
So my story is I built up and sold a multi-million-dollar international physical products business and did it while having kids. I have 4 kids. And today I coach incredible entrepreneurs who want to do the same thing. They want to build an amazing business that has impact, and they want to do it in a way where their family, their relationships, their spirituality, their health all thrive. And that's what I help people do.
Wonderful. And today, and this is so apt, the title for today's conversation is the transformational formula for wealth. Now, you have certain steps for this. So talk us through, what is your transformation formula? And actually before that, do you believe that such a formula can exist as well? I mean, isn't it just all wishful thinking? I know the answer to this. I'm just being a devil's advocate.
Sure.
Isn't it thinking? Isn't it all just, in your mind? Can this formula really exist? And do you have any examples of where it's worked apart from yourself?
Yeah. When you feel like you don't have the levers to pull in order to create whatever life that you want in your life, it feels like life is happening to you. And that when you're in that state, you believe you're a victim, you feel like you don't have influence, life feels frustrating and you feel stuck. Mm-hmm. And the thing that people need to understand, in order to move into this transformational money mindset, you've got to understand that you are the creator of your life. And when you start to understand that, and even just be curious about it, you don't even necessarily have to believe it. But when you start to hope that maybe you can change your circumstances and you have the power within you to be the creator of that change, that's when this starts to work for you.
Wonderful. And I completely agree with that. Life, I always say life's happening for you, not to you. Even those things that you believe are to your detriment or are causing you harm, financial harm or other kinds of pain, sometimes physical pain. Every single incident that happens to you, one, you attract yourself anyway. But secondly, is happening in your favor if you choose to believe that, if you choose to see it from that perspective. As Bob Proctor says, those 2 sides to every coin. It's just which side of the coin are you looking at?
Yeah.
So then talk us through this transformational formula. What is this magic formula that you have used yourself and you help your clients use as well? Talk us through this formula.
Yeah. So I want you to understand that you are wired for growth. As a human being, you want growth, you want progress, you want evidence that you are not staying in the same place in your whole life. I was just talking to one of my one-on-one clients and I was like, what motivated you to make such a big investment and to really make this commitment to yourself and your business? She was like, I've got to be growing in my life. And anybody who's listening, if you're a human being, you have that same wiring within you. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you are really, really wired for that. And so money is a proof and an evidence to you that you are growing in your life. And so if you feel like your wealth, your income isn't growing, it is proof that the you of the past hasn't understood how to transform and move into this place of growth and progress. So today I'm going to teach your audience how to begin to move into that space of transformation to really begin to impact the wealth in your life.
Wonderful. So what would be the first step?
The first step is you need to build awareness around where you are getting in your own way. And let me share some examples of this. If we are doing something subconsciously and we're not aware of it, we cannot impact it. We cannot change. And in some ways, we're right. We are the victim in that situation. We're a victim to ourselves and our blindness. So the first thing you need to do is to grow awareness around where you are disrupting and interrupting the potential flow of wealth and income in your life. And so here's the thing that I want to share with people. And I've talked about this before on our previous episode, that you are the creator of your life. And the current wealth and situation financially that you have is a result of your creation. It's a creation that you created, and it's a proof of your thinking and actions of the past. If you want more wealth and income in your life, you have to start taking new action, asking new questions, and opening new doors of opportunity inside your life right now. Let me try and make this really tactical and specific to somebody. So if your current situation is such that I'm always living paycheck to paycheck, and you repeat that to yourself, you are continually repeating the reality of your past, right? If that's what your current situation has been, and you continue to make those statements, you continue to repeat the evidence and reality of the past. If you want to change that, it's not about making up some unicorn and rainbows story, and that's not true. The opportunity is to create a statement that is true and that moves you to action, and that is opening the door of more wealth and income coming into your life. So let's take that statement of I'm always living paycheck to paycheck, and let's flip it. And maybe the new statement is I am committed to charging what I'm worth, right? That is a true statement. That is, it is a new statement that you're making. It's not a repeat of the past. And what's cool is when you make a statement like that, I'm committed to charging what I am worth, it starts to have the brain asking, oh, well, what am I worth? And what am I currently charging, right? It moves the brain to action rather than it being a statement that keeps you stuck. So the first step is to grow awareness around where you're currently getting in your own way. Step number one.
Okay, so I love that. I think this is very important, and I'm going to add a little bit to this. It's almost like, when you're driving a car, you can't keep looking back in the back rearview mirror. You do every now and then to see where you are, if there's something to take note of, but most of the time your focus needs to be up front. If you keep focusing on where you're coming from and where you are at the moment, you're never going to move ahead, and you're going to crash. So if you take that, there's a metaphor for your life. If you keep looking to where you are and where you're coming from, you are not going to be able to focus on where you want to go. So have your energy and focus directed towards where you're going. And I agree, if you cannot make a statement, which because a lot of the times if you say I'm making 6 figures a month or whatever, and you're currently making 5, then part of you feels like you're lying. Then you can say I'm committed to making 6 figures a month. I'm committed to learning the skills to becoming my number one in my industry. I'm committed to having whatever business they're looking to build. As long as they make statements like that, as long as they focus like that on where they're willing to go rather than where they are and where they've come from, they will build momentum, and their life will start shifting. I agree with that. So wonderful. That's step number 1.
Yeah.
Step number 2 then.
Awareness is step number 1. Step number 2, and people often miss this one. Step number 2 is curiosity. When we start to notice where we're getting in our own way, we are tempted to beat ourselves up and to be like, dang it, I did it again. I'm so frustrated that I do that. I'm always getting in my own way. Am I ever going to pull out of this situation? Am I ever going to be paid what I... And instead of beating yourself up and empowering that inner critic, move to a place of curiosity. So when you start to notice yourself doing this, move to a place of curiosity and be like, oh, wow, look, there it is. I did it again. Isn't that interesting? Huh. Wow. I did it again. Wow. Isn't that interesting? And just stay in this place of curiosity, almost like a 3, 4, 5-year-old who's just in a state of wonder. Like, wow, you don't have to beat yourself up. And here's the thing. You're going to beat yourself up. Then you're going to catch yourself beating yourself up. And then you're going to want to beat yourself up again that you're beating yourself up. So move into this place of curiosity is the doorway out of this staying stuck and staying in the past. Move into this place of curiosity. Step number 2. Step number 3, make a decision. From this place of awareness, even if it's awareness as you're reflecting back in your day and you're noticing throughout the day where you were getting in your own way, and you're in the moment, you have awareness, but like the situation's already passed and you already, beat yourself up or whatever it is, you got in your own way and you didn't move into that place of curiosity. Make a decision on what you're committed to doing from this point forward. Make a decision from that place of curiosity, not from a place of beating yourself up, of guilt and shame. Make that decision of what you're committed to doing moving forward. And here's what happens, Gull. Over time, as you repeat this pattern of awareness, curiosity, deciding, awareness, curiosity, deciding, and you continue to reflect and reflect and reflect, what happens over time, your awareness grows. And eventually what starts to happen is in the very moment that you are getting in your way, in the very moment that you are probably deflecting the money, the income that you say you want, you will catch yourself in the present moment. And that is where you can affect the change. That is where you can start to transform. And this is why it's a transformation formula. You can transform your reality because it's in the now. And that moves us to step number 3, which is act. You need to take new action. If you continue to repeat the patterns of the past, you will get the reality of the past. Yeah. And you need to take new action. And sometimes it can be disorienting because when you are breaking out of old patterns, you literally thrust yourself into the chaos of the unknown. And you feel like you're thrown into the universe and like you don't know which way is up because you're stepping out of your old patterns. And so just know that it's really disorienting at first. And we're trying to orient ourselves and we're asking ourselves, well, what do I do? Like, I see the wrong road that I've gone down so many times in my life. What's the right road? The right road is just new action. That's it. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to break out of the patterns of the past. And if you can grow the awareness and be in that place of curiosity and start deciding what it is that you want, the quote, right way forward will start to become evident to you. It will become evident to you as you align yourself with your choice, your agency, your power to choose. You'll start to see the path forward. But as you're in that place of being disoriented, all you have to do is take new action. It breaks you out of the old patterns. It breaks you out of the old thinking. It moves you into a new place that is disorienting. It is. And just know that it feels weird and uncomfortable. And there's a part of you that's like yelling at you inside your head. And it's like, what are you doing? You're going to die. And it really feels that way. It feels like you are going to die. And in some ways, there is a death of the old self. That's what's happening. And it's uncomfortable. You're outside of your comfort zone. And that's a good thing. You're breaking out of the old patterns. You're into the new. So what is this transformation process? It's awareness, curiosity, decide, and act. You have to take action. Action is what takes this desire that you have, this dream, this spiritual idea that you have in your mind. Action is what pulls it into your reality. So insight isn't enough, right? Those first few ones are about creating awareness and having that insight. And you've got to attach it to action or nothing changes.
Yeah, wonderful. And I was thinking, as you were saying this, your second one, which is become curious rather than actually beating yourself about it. I think a lot of the times when we fall short of what we expect for ourselves, we just are our own worst critics, and especially entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs are exceptionally hard on themselves because we are self-motivated, so we expect ourselves to have high standards. And when we fall short of those standards, we're like, I've done so much work on myself. I think especially in this personal development area as well, when you've done so much work on your inner child and some of the things and the way you think and your limited beliefs, then when you catch yourself in the old patterns or thinking the old way, you're like, I thought I worked on myself. How dare I do this? Or how dare I behave in this way? We beat ourselves up and thereby actually, making the condition worse. Whereas if we do adopt what you just said, which is wonderful, become curious, become aware of it and think, oh, okay, that's interesting. You end up breaking that pattern and then therefore create a new pattern, new awareness will create new patterns, a new way of behavior.
Yeah.
And then eventually that will become your norm, and you will stop treating yourself like your own worst enemy and start treating yourself as your best friend and actually manifest the life of your dreams. It becomes, instead of spiraling downwards, you are spiraling upwards.
Yeah.
I think that's the transformation that you're referring to. That's the kind of vision
Mm-hmm.
you've heard to me. And that is beautiful, because instead of making it really hard and cumbersome, it becomes something of ease and grace. Slowly but
Yes.
surely, you just
Yes.
start spiraling upwards, and your results are never straight line. They're usually, I mean, you're going to have zigzags on the way, but a lot of the times when you
Very
have quantum
zigzag.
leaps, you take a quantum leap, then you're zigzagging, and then you take another quantum leap, and then you zigzag, and it's never going to be a straight line in any shape or form. It's very interesting because we get all sorts of designs, but it's reflected with your own personal growth. And also being aware of the fact that you have to grow, and there's going to be an element of growth as you progress from this, the old way of being to the new way of being.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the idea they said about the death of the old self, because it literally is, your old identity has to die
Yeah.
in order for the new one to come into being. There is no two ways about it.
Can I share an incredible story of coaching one of my clients through this?
Yes,
So me and my clients, we talk a lot about integrity and the power that comes in like aligning yourself with truth and taking action from a place of integrity. And so I had this client, and we had talked a lot about it. And this one day he messages me, and he had thought he had text messaged his wife, but he had text messaged a criticism to the actual individual. So he thought he was criticizing this individual, like to his wife, but he messaged the criticism directly to the individual. And he was freaking out because it was somebody he really looked up to and admired. And he was like, holy cow, what do I do? And he started to create this made up story that he could present to this individual that would kind of justify what he had said and would like help him get off. And he was in this moment where he was faced with an opportunity to act out of integrity or to make up a lie and move forward in that way. And I don't tell my clients what to do. And I said, look, you did this and you have a chance to face it with integrity. And what do you want? Like, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the guy who made up the story, or do you want to be the guy who really owned his mistake? And are you willing to step in the dark with that? And he was like, I want to do that. He was like sick to his stomach. And he was like, I want to be that guy, but I'm so scared. I need your help. And so I helped him understand what he could say to this individual. And I said, let's turn this into an opportunity. And what he was criticizing was a video that this entrepreneur had just put out. And basically he was saying, look, this guy's incredible, and that video does not live up to who he is. And I said, just own it. What if you owned it and you just like said that to him? And so he did. And Gull, he was terrified because he was stepping into the unknown, right? Yep. And he could have shrunk back. He could have gone with the made up story and saved face. Yeah. But he made a decision that he believed in integrity, and he believed in that principle enough that he was willing to step into the dark with integrity. And what ended up happening on the other side is he strengthened his relationship with this guy, and they ended up becoming friends. And now he has a strong relationship of truth, founded on truth, with this individual. Now, did he know that that's what was going to happen? No, like it could have gone the other way. And he was willing to face that because he believed in integrity and in truth. So I share that because I feel very strongly in the principles that I am teaching people. And I know that there are moments in your life when it's going to feel scary, and your inner critic is going to want to pull back, and it's going to want to play small. And what I have outlined for you is an opportunity for you to play a much bigger game. And it's not easy. It is not easy. But I want you to know that I have witnessed personally that as I live according to these principles that I'm teaching people, and as I watch it play out in my clients' lives, as you're willing to step into that dark of the unknown and have faith and belief in the principles and faith in the belief in the infinite you that can handle whatever comes your way as you step into the unknown, that is when life really opens up for you. And something that you never imagined possible opens up, and suddenly you are living a life. Like for me, what does that mean? I'm living in Puerto Rico, girl. I'm seriously watching the waves roll in right now. I'm in a penthouse condo with my kids. My husband's homeschooling my kids. I'm in an incredible entrepreneurial network here. Life is amazing. And like there were times in my life when that would have just never seemed possible, Gull. And it's because of everything that I'm teaching people. And it's about understanding principles of truth and then really understanding how to live them. Because just like the transformation formula that I shared with you, if you are not living these principles, they will not change your life. Nothing changes.
I think this is very important. The fact that, I mean, there's so many golden nuggets here. First of all, living your life, the true authentic version of yourself, and being honest and truthful to yourself. And I always talk about how, you need to be able to speak the truth, the highest truth, and your truth. I think these are three essential things that we all need to get accustomed to. We're used to telling the truth as according to what people want to hear, I think, and we don't, most of the time we don't speak our own truth anyway. And there's also the highest truth, which is the actual truth, which sometimes we're not aware of either. But I think being authentic and real is super important. But at the same time, if you want to grow and if you want to have this new life, then you have to be first and foremost honest with yourselves. I think the one person that we are at times the least authentic and real with is ourselves. We kid ourselves, we fool ourselves, we make excuses up for ourselves for our shortcomings, as well as make the imposter syndrome comes and kicks and bites the backside, and we give in and we think we're not worthy. I mean, there are so many strategies we can overcome with that. But the point is, the one person that we need to be completely truthful with is ourselves. And only once we're truthful with ourselves can we go through this transformation process, which is hard. I always say this river of change is bloody awful. And if you decide to take a plunge into this river of change, you're going to sink or you're going to swim. There's no going back. You can't turn back. Because you open up this whole new, different area of this world of part of yourself, which is like opening up Pandora's box. You can't put it back in. You can't shut it. So you have to sink or swim. There's no other way once you go into the river of change. And the river of change is hard. There are times when it's dark. There are times when it's unbearable, and times when it's like, oh my God, I think I'm going to die. But once you cross it and come out the other end, that's when the rainbow is. That's where the pot of gold is. Yeah. But you can't, at times you can't even see the rainbow, the pot of gold, but you have to have faith that it's there, and that's what you're swimming towards. And this is so important.
Yes. And to like go back to what you were saying and asking, you just mentioned now, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to die. There is a death. There's a death of the ego. There's a death of the old self. And this is what my client experienced, like telling the truth to this individual who he had criticized through a DM. It felt like a death. And I said, yes, that's a death of your ego. It's the death of the old self. And you get to decide whether or not you're going to make that happen. And he made that choice, right? And it was so uncomfortable because it was a death of the old self. But at the same time, there was this birth of this new man of integrity, this man of truth, this man who owns his truth, his mistakes, his reality, and is willing to step forward in that truth. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It is uncomfortable. There is a death. It is scary for that reason. Acknowledge that, know that, and then make the decision to move forward anyways and face that death.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the, let me ask you this question from this point of view. When you're going through this transformation, there are times that you will have no support. There are times when you will have support. You may have friends or family or spouses who are supporting you. But what about those individuals who have no support? They're by themselves. What would you advise them to do? Where can they seek the support, or how do they support themselves?
There's a couple things that I want to share here. The first is, if you feel like you don't have any support, I want anybody out there who's listening to know that you have my support. I'm a mother of 4. I'm here in Puerto Rico. I've built a multi-million-dollar international business. I coach high-performing entrepreneurs, and I believe in you. And so in those moments of doubt and fear and feeling like you don't have anybody who supports you, like literally reach out to me in the ethers. I don't care, in the DMs, but I'm here to support you. And Gull, you said this earlier, like if Katie can do it, then so can you. And I absolutely believe that. I truly, truly do. And if nobody in your life is supporting you, you only need the support of one individual, and that is yourself. Can you, in your mind, put your arm around the self the version of you that is doubting, that is fearing, that is wanting to pull back, can you put your arm around her or him and say, I believe in you, and give that gift of belief to yourself? I have a client who he's in a business partnership with somebody, and the partnership went sour. And for 18 months, he couldn't wrap that partnership up. He couldn't even have a conversation with this business partner. Why? Because he's also a family member. And so if that business partnerships dies, ultimately the fear was it would send his mother into a health crisis, mental health crisis. And he was like, I can't do that. And so for 18 months, he was avoiding having a conversation with this business partner. And I've helped him navigate this. We've been working together for a couple months now. And he made the decision that continuing to partner with this, as he believes, unethical individual is not the right decision for him. Mm-hmm. And he made the decision that he's going to talk to his mom, he's going to talk to his wife and his brother, who's also a business partner, and say, look, I've made the decision that this is not the right partnership for me. I realize that it's going to create some strain. And I just want you to know that I love you and I would really appreciate your help and support in making this move. And he is doing this right now, Gull. It like lights me up to know that being in a partnership with somebody who doesn't share the same values as him, it was creating tremendous drag in his life. And I've helped him navigate and make the decision to the point where he's now changing that partnership. He's separating himself from this partner, and he's stepping into the unknown, like we've been talking about. He doesn't know what's on the other side of that. In some ways, he was about to do the deal and continuing the partnership with somebody who he knew couldn't uphold his part of the deal. And he was trying to build out a robust contract for repercussions for when this business partner, who's also a family member, doesn't live up to his end of the deal. And I said, look, you already know it's going to go sideways. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And we learned from a previous experience, and he had made the decision. He wanted to be the man of integrity. He wanted to be the man who created the life that he wanted, and not just the life that was handed to him. And continuing to move forward in that partnership was the life that was handed to him. And it wasn't him being intentional. And so, yeah, he didn't know if his mom was going to support him. And he didn't know if his brother was going to be supportive of this decision. But what he did do was he had a powerful conversation with people. He spoke his truth and asked and made an invitation for them to support him. And so that's what I would say also. If you have people in your life who are not supportive and who are vocally critical of you, what if you had a powerful conversation and said, look, I love you. And I know that what I'm doing might look crazy to you. I understand that. But this is my truth. And I'm going to extend an invitation for you to support me. I don't have to have that, but I ask for it in this moment. And if you can't do that, I understand that, but I'm going to move forward and really owning your truth and making that decision.
I mean, as you were saying this, Katie, I remember back in 2016, 17, 16, I was in no state of mind, but in 16, when I started my business and the decision was to go into business for myself rather than go back to law, based on, because I didn't want my kids to not have any parent, rather than at least have a single parent. And I remember having this conversation with my father at the time and my brother at the time, exact same words, that I want you to support me. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just asking you to support my decision and know what I'm doing. And the fact that I don't want to go back to law, there's a valid reason for it, because I don't want to be doing 80 hours and not have any time with my kids. I need to work around my kids. And I've done that very successfully. But at the time, they didn't know I could. And I want you to just believe in me. And both of them, I think my brother more than my father just couldn't see it, but he could see that there's no point arguing with me, because I'm very headstrong. There's no turning me around. But my brother said, okay, he just said to me, I don't know what you're doing, but okay, you can do what you want, but I don't understand what you're doing, but I'll support you in whatever way. I mean, that was enough, but he didn't do anything else. And he didn't actually give me the extra moral or financial, any other kind of support at all. But at least he didn't criticize me. He wasn't there nagging at me at all. And then, but he stood back and looked at me. My father completely thought I was bonkers, completely crazy. And he kept quiet as well. Fast forward a couple of years, and my father, we had a falling out of other things. But my brother, he's very proud. He's extremely proud. And he's even more so because he could not see my vision at the time. Yes. He could not see what I wanted. He could see the reasoning. He could see the two young children. He knew what kind of mother I wanted to be. But he could not see how I could bring them up and financially provide for them and do everything. And now he sees my podcast, he sees my book, he sees my business, and he's very, very proud. He still doesn't understand what I'm doing fully, but he's very supportive. He's extremely proud of me. And I think this is so important to know that if people care about you, they will support you in their own way. I mean, I have to say, I had cousins who are very close friends of mine. There's two that come to mind. They I don't think they still don't understand what I'm doing. I don't think half my family doesn't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But those two females, they supported me throughout. Like, you can do this. I know you can do this. You got this. As much as they could, and and push me further. That was enough for me, because I could figure everything else out on my own. But the fact that they said to me, they were both of them in Manchester. I'm based in London, and they're both in Manchester. One in Washington, one in Manchester. That support over the phone through the ethos of the universe was enough for me, just to get me by. They didn't have to physically be here and hold my hand. That was just like, go, you got this. I believe in you. You got this. Trusting God. That conversation every now and again was enough for me to carry on. Especially early days when I had my wobble, when I was doing my tears, and the wobble works. And this is important to remember, that the people closest to you, be your partner, your husband, your wife, people closest to you may not support you, but you may find extended family or from your friends, somebody who is willing to believe in you, and you can hold on to that faith, because sometimes you need to help somebody else to have faith in you more than you have faith in yourself, especially in times of wobble.
Yeah.
That get you through, especially the initial hurdle. And then once the ball gets moving, then people can see what's going on. And then they sort of become quiet or start supporting you. I find this is one or the other. They either just become quiet, they don't criticize anymore, or they actually come out full-blown support. Like, I believed in you. I knew you could do this.
Yeah, and you brought up a really good point. Like, in the beginning, your brother didn't have the vision that you had, right? He saw your current reality. And again, that's evidence of your past. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have any bearing on where you can go and where you choose to go and what you're creating for your future. And so in some ways, you can't blame people when they're making that decision and have a hard time supporting you. Of course, they're looking at your current reality. So give them grace, give them understanding. That's difficult. And that's asking a lot of somebody when maybe they don't have the vision that you do. And so making that decision, have faith in yourself, have faith in this vision and future that you want to build and create, and being willing to step forward with only that, if that's all that you have, that's all that's required to create the life of your dreams.
Agreed. I think you have to be really faithful to yourself. So first of all, if you do have someone who's supporting you, especially close to you, then you're very lucky. I think you're very, very fortunate, and you are very lucky. I think I'm going to go beyond that as well. I think in this day and age, you can actually go out and find communities which can support you. I think there are so many Facebook groups and other communities and networking opportunities. And there's so many, even people like yourself, they can come out, join your community or me or whatever. And you can reach out to people, other entrepreneurs. You can follow them through podcasts, and like your podcast or my podcast. There's so many different ways to get inspiration and to get the support outside of immediate family and friends, for starters. And I think everyone should, to be honest, because at times when you become an entrepreneur, the journey of an entrepreneur is so different from everybody else's that the people around you may not understand unless they're entrepreneurs themselves, right? That's the first point. Secondly, you have to hold on to this vision for yourself. No one else can do it for you. If you have a vision that you want to work towards, you want to create a life that's different from your current one, then you have to have the faith, and you have to have the faith and the courage to make the decision, and then the gumption to stick to that decision. Remember, Katie, you probably know this as well. A lot of people make the decision, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to build this business. I'm going to do this. And as soon as, first sign of hurdles come, they may stick around for the earlier storms, but as storms start coming, and they do come quite ferociously at times, they lose that faith and they have that wobble, and the decision gets, and they go back to, oh no, let's go back to the normal, let's go back to the corporate life and do 9 to 5 and so forth. And so many dreams are sacrificed in this transaction that I see. A few people who can have the gumption to stick to their decision. I want to make this happen. I don't care if I have to climb above it, through it, underneath it. I'm going to make this work. Those are the people. This is regardless of faith, regardless of talent. By the way, you don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the most good-looking. You don't have to be the most intelligent person. It's the one with the strongest faith and the strongest, belief in themselves which actually succeed at the end. It's not
Yeah.
it's not on talent or abilities. It's dependent totally on your faith and your ability to believe in yourself.
Yes. And I want to share with everybody, sometimes it feels like belief is like, we feel the excitement. We can't stop ourselves. We should be sleeping and we just want to keep working on the project, the idea, whatever it is. And then there's these moments where we don't have that feeling and that excitement. And what I want everyone to know is belief is a choice. And there are going to be gaps in that moment of where you're feeling the excitement, you're feeling the drive, you have the energy, and you're like moving whatever it is forward is just like, there's no option to not do that, right? There's going to be gaps in that. And there will be moments when you're faced with this lack of belief. And what you can do in those moments is choose to believe anyways. And I have a really relevant example of this. Me and my team are working on something. In order to create this project, this idea that I have, it requires a partnership with about 10 other entrepreneurs. And I sent 2 messages yesterday to the first 2 entrepreneurs I wanted to partner with. I thought it would be a quick, easy, yes, thumbs up, Katie, let's do this. Total radio silence. And for 24 hours. And when we had our team meeting today, I was like, guys, like I was lacking in belief, Gull. I was like, guys, maybe I'm asking too much of people. Maybe they're just too busy. They don't want to do this partnership. And like, I was tempted to throw in the towel and be like, let's focus our attention somewhere else. And I was like, you know what? No, I want to do this. And I was excited about it when I came up with the idea a couple of days ago. I really believe in this project and I'm going to keep going. And I started reaching out before our interview. I reached out to a ton more people. And as we're sitting here, my phone is blowing up right now. All these people saying, yes, Katie, yes, Katie, yes, Katie. What got me through that gap was choosing to take action, choosing to believe anyways, choosing to keep going, choosing to say, I'm not going to give up this idea. And in like this afternoon, I wasn't excited about it anymore. Like the excitement had passed. And I was like, I'm starting to doubt myself, actually. And I made the decision to keep going anyways. And now I've got all of these people who are in my DMs and they all want to participate in this project because I bridged that gap with choice, choosing to believe anyways.
Wonderful. And on that note, we're going to wrap up. So any parting comments or thoughts from yourself, Katie?
The last thing I would share with people is sometimes it looks like people who are successful got there because they took advantage of people. They cheated their way to the top. And maybe there was a time in history when that is how you won. And I believe very strongly that that is changing. And if you want to really win in life today, both financially, both relationally, both spiritually and physically, you have to understand how to tell the truth. And I'm talking about in a really deep and profound way. And so if you feel like something's hard in your life and the business, the income that you want and dream and desire and that you're working so hard for isn't showing up in your life, I'm going to invite you to take a moment to look at your life, look at your reality, and tell the truth. Where are you getting in your own way? Where are you out of integrity? Where are you trying to play the old game of cheating and getting ahead? And how can you tell the truth and take action from that place of truth? And just like my client who I helped him see his opportunity to take action in alignment with integrity, you have the same opportunity. And I have watched so many incredible things. I always wish that there was like a movie for all of my clients because we don't see this in books, in movies. We don't see it on social media. And I just want people to know that there is a tremendous gift and wealth and resources and opportunity when you make the decision to take action from a place of truth, from a place of integrity, founded on true principles. And that is my invitation to you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, your experience, and talking us through the transformation formula for wealth today, Katie. So, Katie, tell us, how can we connect with you? How can we find you on the internet?
Well, I have a podcast of my own. It's called What's Working Now. You can go and listen to me. The first 8 episodes are me telling my story of building a multi-million-dollar international business. And then I also do incredible interviews with people like you, Gull, and just really extracting true principles and then understanding how to apply that to your business right now, today. And then I'm also active on Instagram, katie.live. send me a DM. Like if what I've shared today has really resonated with you and it's touched you in some way, I would love to hear that. So send me a DM. I've also got some incredible free audios and other opportunities. I have an incredible CEO brain camp that will be starting soon, where I teach people this mindset that you need in order to have a successful business and life. So yeah, reach out to me. I would love to meet you and encourage you, inspire you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Katie. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, all the links that Katie just mentioned will be on the show notes. And if you're watching us on the YouTube, then down below in the description section, we have all the links to Katie's the link that Katie just mentioned, her IG link, and everything else that she just mentioned as well. Go check her out. She's one amazing lady, someone I really am following at the moment, because I think I can learn one or two things from her too, and I'm sure you can too. And as she said, if you are happy, if you're, if you picked up something amazing, if you had some amazing aha moments, I know I did, then do DM her and go follow her on IG and katie.live. Well, thank you so much, Katie, for being such an amazing guest with us. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you, Gull. It was an honor to be here. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you for listening to me and Katie today on Money Talkies. I will be back on another Money Talkies segment with another amazing entrepreneur, asking them for their advice and help so that you and I can build a better business. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull signing off. Take care and bye for now.